Turn your wealth into a political weapon, or set up your own thing. Better yet, which is probably what you want to. If you're like a self-made millionaire who has like secret leftist ideas, I'm sure you want to set up your own thing. Set up something like the German resistance inside corporate and inside the corporate world. Or yeah. The German resistance is a great example of creating like an opposition inside, like the I don't know, the edifice of power or whatever. Yeah, you can set up something like the German resistance, you know, and like do that and resist, that way. But there's all sorts of things. I'm saying if you're a rich leftist, turn your wealth into a political weapon. If you're a poor leftist, strive to become as rich as possible. Do whatever you have to do to get as much money as possible, so that then you can turn that money into a weapon. Okay, that's what I'm saying. So yeah, please don't fall for this dignity of poverty bullshit that you have to be poor to prove something. You don't have to be poor. Do not be poor. No, reject poverty. No, you know, in the in the future, when there is a political economy that supports um, an end to poverty, then it doesn't matter. But now, in this era where poverty exists or whatever, all you have to do is if you're a poor leftist like me, just procure funds whichever way you can. Procure funds and then use those funds, however little they might be, to help far left or radical ecology efforts. That's what I would recommend. Or if you don't want to do that, you can set up something like the German resistance, inside the edifice of corporate or state or military power, because the German resistance had members in the military, industry, the government, bureaucracy. It didn't work. The last time they tried in 1944, they almost made it, but they didn't quite make it. But yeah. But anyway, they tried, so it's good. Better to try or better to die trying than to do nothing. So yeah. Anyways, yeah, that covers my little rant on poverty and anti-poverty. I hate poverty, like the poverty pimping. I call it poverty pimping. The poverty pimps. They come around, trying to say, oh, the poor, the poor. We want to help the poor. We want to help the poor. If you want to help the poor, it's like Hugo Chavez says. The way to end poverty is to empower the poor, not to like spiritualize their condition or to like cuddle their condition or whatever, or like pretend that their condition is something dignifying or what have you. It isn't. Okay. Right. The Bible students and the Jehovah's Witnesses are gonna say that I'm ignoring Jesus when he said, "Give Caesar what belongs to Caesar," right? When they showed him the Roman coin and they asked him, "Whom should we pay taxes to?" And Jesus said, "Give Caesar what belongs to Caesar and give God what belongs to God," right? So if you're a Christian, a religious Christian, you're supposed to be focused on giving God what belongs to God and ignore Caesar. No, I don't interpret it that way. I think that what Jesus meant is to keep politics and theology separate. That's what I think that he meant. Give Caesar what belongs to Caesar. In other words, keep politics within politics and give God what belongs to God. Give theology within the context of theology. It's appropriate context. In other words, like I just explained, two separate compartments: a political and a theological effort, two parallel efforts that are separate from each other. Okay, that's what I would advocate. I think that's what Jesus meant, not that you're supposed to ignore Caesar or whatever. And then there is the historical Jesus research suggests that Jesus also had a political side, not just a religious side, but a political side. And I would venture that Barabbas might have been the political disciple, even though Barabbas and Jesus didn't see eye to eye. In the end, maybe Barabbas was the political disciple after all. Yeah, I don't know, maybe. Apparently, Jesus had a relationship with the Zealots, just like he had a relationship with the Essenes. So, but again, this is like theories and stuff, hypotheses and theories. I'm not sure that is really. I don't know. But the historical Jesus research suggests that Jesus had a political side. That's it. Now, what was the specific? What were the specific details of that relationship? That is subject to, hypotheses and theories and stuff, and other things. But apparently Jesus had a political side. That is what, the historical Jesus research says. Another argument that is going to be thrown at me is by Christians and what have you, people who believe in the Christian neutrality, is that salvation does not come from the hand of man. Okay. I'm not saying that the far left or radical ecology are going to bring about the salvation of man. That's not what no, because obviously politics is not spiritually salutatory. It's not about spirituality. Politics is about politics, not about spirituality. So salvation refers to a spiritual event or phenomena, not political. Salvation is not political. Salvation is a spiritual and theological. So that's another realm. So yeah, this argument does not apply to politics. And my argument is that tyranny can only be resisted by organized resistance. And examples in Europe, European examples that I always point to, the White Rose movement, I guess. Movement resistance group. It was really a resistance group. It wasn't really a movement, but I would love for it to have been a movement, right? But it wasn't. Maybe it was just a loose resistance network. But yeah. But anyways, the White Rose, the German and French resistance. I already talked about the German resistance, the French resistance, the Soviet, Yugoslavian, and Italian partisans. Yeah, and the Soviet, Yugoslavian, and Italian partisans engaged in violence. Yes, but they were at war. They were actors in the war. So that's different. It's not the same. I mean, the Soviet, Yugoslavian, and Italian partisans fighting German occupation is not the same as, let's say, Red Army faction or whatever. That's a completely different thing. And in the political statement video, I discussed Red Army faction. Okay, I've read their manifesto. The urban guerrilla concept, from allegedly written by Ulrike Meinhof. I've read that. And I whatever, but. I'm informed about what their politics were, like a mixture between, like they were very much premised on Maoism and whatever. Anyways, yeah, and I just want to read the Wikipedia sentence on the White Rose. The White Rose was a non-violent intellectual resistance group in Nazi Germany, led by a group of students from the University of Munich, including Sophie Scholl, Hans Scholl, and Alexander Schmorell. The group conducted an anonymous leaflet and graffiti campaign that called for active opposition to the Nazi regime. Their activities started in Munich on 27 June 1942 and ended with the arrest of the core group by the Gestapo on 18 February 1943. So it's really interesting. It was kind of like same as like the Samizdat movement in the Soviet Union in the 1970s. Something like that too. So yeah. So yeah, I mean, this is meaningful political activity. I mean, if the White Rose, if Sophie Scholl had gone by the Christian neutrality rule, she would have stayed passive while the Nazis engaged in the anarchy of state power that Mussolini wrote about in his book. See, Sophie Scholl did not agree with granting impunity to the Nazi regime. She acted against it in the way she could, which was, I mean, this was 1942. There was no internet. And even if there had been an internet, I think that Nazis would have censored it. But all she could do was print anonymous leaflets and paint graffiti on walls. At least that's something. She tried, and her friends tried to do something. They didn't grant impunity to Caesar. They did not grant impunity to Caesar, and that is the problem with the Christian neutrality rule. Christian neutrality grants impunity to Caesar to engage in the anarchy of state power that Mussolini defined in his book. So no, I'm with the White Rose. Instead of Christian neutrality, I propose the White Rose. Yeah, and I'm sorry, I know the Bible students are going to violently disagree with this. If you're a Bible student, you disagree with this. Look, go in the comment section and have at it. Tell me why Sophie Scholl was wrong. So go ahead, use the comment section, make a video, whatever. Why was the White Rose wrong? I want to know that from I don't care about what Jehovah's Witnesses have to say because they're not the true truth. But the true, I want people from the true truth who might be watching this video now. The true truth, meaning the Bible students. You are the true representatives of Charles Taze Russell. I want to know why Sophie Scholl was apparently wrong here. You know, what was wrong with the White Rose? Please answer that. Okay. So, okay, that concludes my this is Political Statement 3.0. This is the final edition, the final version. There's not going to be any more versions. I think I've covered the issue of politics enough already, you know. So we're clear. Yeah, everybody knows that Miguel, Manuel, both have rejected Christian neutrality. It's done. It's done. It's public. Here it is. You know, yeah, whatever. It's done. Right? It's done. So there's no. I don't need to belabor the point anymore. But anyways, that's it. Bye bye.